Okay, hello students. Here I'm working on Unit 2 Algebra 2 lesson number 15, and this is about remainder theorem. So before I begin the practice problem, I just want to walk through what is a remainder theorem. That means if there is a polynomial px and it is divided by x minus a, and when you divide px by x minus a, the quotient is qx and r is the remainder. And the same r remainder can be found by just plugging in x equals a here. So that will give a minus a 0, and you get the remainder. So if you see this, let's take one example. The very first practice problem is for a polynomial p f of x is this is given to you. More information is given is f of 0 is 6. So what is this means? It means on the graph there is a 0 and 6, x and y. There is also what this means is when the input is 2, when the x is 2, the y is negative 4. What does this mean? When the input is minus 2, the y is 0. And this means when the input is 3, then it is 0. And this one means when it's minus 1, it is 0. And the last one is when the input is 1 and 0. So all you look up for is the second number. Look at this. So we want to know among this y output, which one is 0. And you can see this 2, this, and this, and this. So there are 4 of them. So this 4 gives you 0. It means this is minus 2 is a 0, minus 1 is a 0, 3 is a 0, and 1 also is a 0. So these are the zeros. It means that means if I want to check, all that means is the graph crosses at minus 2, also it crosses at minus 1, crosses at 1, crosses at 3. So I think I copied the minus 1 wrong. So this part is f of minus 1 is so this is not correct. So it is 8 there. So at minus 1 we don't have a 0. So that's 8. So this is not the right one. So this is not the right one. This is not the right one. This is not the right one. That means you have the zeros are minus 2, 1, and 3. So minus 2, then there is a 1 and there is a 3. And then when the more information, what about f of 0? This part is when x is 0, it means the y value is 6. That means there is a 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And remember, the function is degree 3. So what is degree 3? That means the graph will look like down up. So that means the graph starts from down. So I have to start from down. It goes through this, and then it goes through 6. So maybe it goes up here and takes a turn, and then goes down, and then maybe here takes a turn, and that's how the sketch of this. So not just, but the question was, what is the product of the linear factor? Now these are the 0. That means x equals minus 2 is 1, 0, x equals 1 is another 0, x equals 3 is 0, and then you can add 2 here and you get x plus 2 is 0. So that's one factor. See, now if you subtract minus 1 this side, you get x minus 1 is 0, and you subtract minus 3 this side, you get x minus 3 is 0. So the three factors we can put together and write down. I don't have room here. Anyway, I'll write it right here, maybe. So the three factors can be put together and written down in the factor form. So the question was, what are the linear factors? The linear factors are this one, x plus 2, and x minus 1, and the other one is x minus 3. So these are the linear factors. And if you want to really figure out why it is true, you can always use do the box method for this or FOIL method, and that will give you x squared minus 4x minus plus 3. and then you can multiply this x plus 2, again use FOIL method or box method, and that will give you, and you'll see that is correct. So I hope this makes sense. And so few more things I want to add is what is the meaning of remainder theorem is. So if whatever these values, this six is the remainder. All these values are the remainder when you divide. Let's say this one. This one is when x minus 0 is okay. If you get confused with this, let's take this. What is this basically means that if you see this, this is the remainder here is the remainder is minus 4, and this is not 0, right? And that's why we say the x minus 2 is not a factor. So take note of this. So factor theorem, what is factor theorem says? Factor theorem says if the remainder is 0, then each one of these becomes the factor. And what is the remainder theorem only says you just plug in the number, the x values, or when you substitute x equals 2 here, this becomes the remainder. Uh, Let me show. I hope that takes care. Let's go on to the next one. This question is asking, hey, select which among this a to e is x minus a is a factor. So how do we know a binomial or linear form is a factor? So how do you know x minus is? So one thing is, let's see if I really want to know whether this is a factor. Of course, you can do long division method and see, and I'll put it in the standard form like this. See, there's x squared term missing. So you can do all this and check when you divide using long division, and you end up getting, suppose you get a 0, then we can say this is a factor. In other words, this could be written as x minus 4 and some other quadratic term here like this. See? So that's what it means. That means can be written that way. And this is one way, or you can use the synthetic division also, and put instead of x, if I want to know x minus the 4 factor, put a 4 here, and this number will go, this number 1, 0, minus 13, and minus 12. Put it right here, and that's another way to do. You can see whether do you get a remainder. Drop down this, 4 times 1 is 4, add this 2, become 4, 4 times 4 is 16, this will be 3, and then 4 times 3 is 12, and clearly see you get a 0 here. So that means this x minus is a factor, so the first one is true. So that means, so this is a factor of the first polynomial. Now this is the fastest way, but you can use calculator also, and use another way is just plug substituting x values. It means here x minus 4, so you put x minus 4 is 0, and then it is add for both sides, and you get x equals 4, and this is the 4 you plug in here in each of this. That means if I call this as f of x, and if I put f of 4, so that becomes, this 3 will becomes 4 cube. This minus 13 will be minus 13 times 4, and this is minus 12. And you can use, if you want, you can use the calculator, or you can do mental math and say 4 cube is 64, and 13 times 4 is 52, and then plus 12, and you can clearly see. And you can see, I think this is minus, right? This is minus because you can see there's a minus here, and you will see this together will be minus 64 and minus 64, and this becomes 0. It means when the x coordinate is 4, the y coordinate is 0. That's what it is. That means the graph goes through the point 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's where it crosses. It's cubic. So maybe something like this, or maybe something like this. We don't know the other two factors, even though you can just use this and see this. There are 3 terms. So the cubic changes to quadratic. So it is 1x squared plus 4x plus 3, and you can Again, factorize this as x and split x. 3 is 1 times 3, and they both add up to 4, so you can just put plus 1 and plus 3. So that means the opposite of plus 1 and plus 3 will be here, minus 1 and minus 3. And the number by itself is minus 12. You can see like this. So if these are the points, so the graph starts up, goes down, and goes to 12 because there's a minus 12 here. So goes this way and then goes through 4. Even though they did not ask this question, I just thought of showing understanding of what is the meaning of factor. It means it's the opposite of the number becomes the 0. So if this is a factor, now is this a factor of this? How do we know? Is we can also do same thing and by just plugging in, but I would do synthetic division. So sometimes if you don't have a calculator, I would do synthetic division. Because what if this was x raised to 5 and then there's a problem? So you can do this. I want to know this, right? Put the opposite of minus 4 plus 4. This is 1, 8, 19, 12. 1, 8, 19, and 12. And drop down the first one. Multiply 4 times 1 is 4. This adds to 12. This is 48. And you can see all are positive. By just looking at 9 and 8, 7, 1. And this becomes 4 times 64. 4 times 7 is 28. 2, 4, 6 is 24, 25, 26. And you always get a big number, positive number. So this is not going to be 0. So this is wrong. What about this one? Do the same thing. This time you have 1, 6, 5, and minus 12. And check again with 4. Drop down the first one. 4 times 1 is 4. That becomes 10. 4 times 10 is 40. This becomes 45. And you can see this becomes 180. And that is minus. So this is not going to be 0 because, see, they are not the same. So this also not correct. And likewise, I want you to see the next one. So the next one. So there is 1, there is minus 1, there is a 10, minus 10 and minus 1, minus 1, minus 10 and minus 8. Put a 4 here, drop down 1. 4 times 1 is 4, together is 3, 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 together, and 4 times 2, there you go, you get 8, and plus 8 is 0. So that's good news. You get the remainder. So this is correct. And you can see one of the factor is x minus 4, and the other one we can write two more factor because this whole thing will be x squared plus 3x plus 2. You can split this as 1 times 2, and they both add up to 3. So you can put x and x, and there is plus 1 and plus 2, and you're done. What about the last one? It won't be. The last one, you don't have to do so much synthetic division. You can just substitute also, or you can use synthetic division. If you want to use synthetic division, there's x squared here, so 1, but there's a x missing. That means this is x squared plus 0x minus 4, so there's 0 and minus 4. Put the 4 outside, drop 1. 1 times 4 is 4, adds to 4, and this is 16, and you see this is plus 12, the remainder, so it's not 0, so this is not 0. The factor theorem says that cannot be a factor. So I hope this takes care of that problem. Well, problem number 3, write a polynomial with degree 3. That means I need to write x cubed in the standard form. This is what it will look like. But then they gave us that p of 7. What does this means is at 7, this is 7, this is 7 comma 0. That means the graph crosses the 7. That means 7 is a 0. So 7 is a 0. So it is the 0 of the polynomial. I also call it is also 7 is the x-intercept of the graph. X-intercept of the graph, and x minus 7 become the factor of the polynomial. That means if I want to get this, I can write in the factor form because there is a degree 3, you have to have 3 factors. And for the, I will write the factor that you know is x minus 7. And you don't know, you can put anything here. So you can put x plus 2 and x minus 3. Anything can be put, and that will become the fact. That will be a polynomial function. So the one that I wrote, you can also put in the uh, use the FOIL method, or you can use box method, and you will end up getting x squared minus x minus 6. And then again, you use the box method and get the answer. The whole thing in the standard form, it will look like this. In this problem, they did give us that this polynomial is being divided by one of the binomial is x minus 5, the other one is x plus 5. All the work is shown. The question is, what is p of minus 5? So it means when x is minus 5, what is the y? So when x is the input, this is the input, which is the independent variable. What is the output? Now remember, the remainder theorem says, what is the remainder theorem says is when px is divided by a divisor, maybe dx, okay, then px divided by dx is always equals to the quotient and plus the remainder divided by, this is the, or you can also write px equals the divisor times the quotient plus the remainder. So this is the remainder when px is divided by dx. Or if this is x minus, let's say, a and qx and plus the remainder, and if I plug in a, x is a, this becomes a minus a, and this whole thing becomes 0. So all you is the remainder, that the bottom number. This is the remainder. So this is the remainder. So all it means is in the long division line that means this basically means it is p of minus 5. The first one, the p of, if x is minus 5, so you're dividing by this, that means you're putting x equals plus 5. That means you're, when you plug in p is plus 5, the remainder is 90. So that's what it means here. In the second case, you're dividing by x plus y. It means when you plug in p is negative 5, that answer is 40. So this is very important question just to understand what is the meaning of p. So this means if I, whatever that, so even though they didn't give us this, even they did not give us this, and they simply said what is p of minus 3. What is the meaning of this? Is whatever that you get, this means when you plug in minus 3, you get that is the remainder. This is the remainder, and this means when you divide by x plus 3 using long division or synthetic division, so you are getting the remainder. Yes, this answer, whatever that is, and I hope this helps. Which polynomial has zeros when x is 5? So you are already given these are the zeros. The moment you have a zero, it means the graph crosses at 5 minus 7 and 2/3. So 2/3 will be here maybe. So these are the three places the graph crosses, and it is a cubic. See, it is a cubic, so I can always graph it something like this. Okay, so that's how the graph will look like. And to write the factor, all you do is f of x is, so this equals 3 factors with x, and the 3 zeros. So just put the opposite of plus 5, which is minus 5, opposite of plus minus 2 by 3, and this is plus 7. Now, they didn't give us in a fraction. You can see there is a, so x minus 5. So these are the two options 100%, because there's x minus 5, And there is x minus 7 also. So this both this looks good, but which one is correct among this? And you can see there's a 3 here. This 3 means you multiply 3 and 3. So that way you get x minus 5. And this become 3x minus 2, and there is x plus 7. But then this is divided by 3. That can be written as 1/3 x minus 5, 3x minus 2, and x plus 7. So this is the actual, but you can also write this could be one of the function, but the one that they give us is the d, because it has that without the 1/3. So it is x minus 5 minus 2 and x plus 7. So this also is correct. So what is 1/3 is the graph is the graph is shrunk by scale factor of 1/3. So I can also write 1/3. So you can have a lot of, suppose I have these 2 points, this is it. I can stretch it. You can go by the same thing, let's go this way. See, you can also shrink it. So this way also. So that means this number decide whether it is shrinks or stretches, but they all go through the same point, whatever that is they give. In this case, maybe it is minus 7 and 5 and 2/3. So that's all I'm trying to say. In this question, there is one question that looks little challenging. So let's see what this challenge is. So a polynomial is given has known factor plus 3. So this is already a factor. So and there is also x plus 2 factor. So we'll use the first one using synthetic division so that we can easily find the so here x plus 3 is one of the factors. So we put the opposite of plus 3 right here. Then what are the coefficients of the polynomial? So you can see there's a 3 plus 8 minus 13 minus 22 plus 22. So 3, 8, and minus 13 minus 22 and plus. So first you write all these and drop the first one. 3 times negative 3 is minus 9. This together is minus 1, and minus 3 times minus 1 is plus 3. That will give you minus 10. Then again this multiply gives you minus plus 30, and this will give you 8 plus 8, and then minus 3 times 8 is negative 24, and there you got 0. So now because x plus 2 is a factor, so now you have a reduced quotient. Now this means that you can, when x plus 3 is divided to this polynomial, you get this as the quotient. So we can write the same thing in the degree 4, the new polynomial will be degree 3. So this 3 x cubed, then this minus 1 x squared, and this minus 10x. So this is what we get the quotient. Again, because x plus 2 is a factor, I'm just doing one little quick. Then you can divide this again by x plus 2. That means put the thing like this again. And this 3 will go 3. This minus 1 will be minus 1, minus 10, 8, and then this, write the opposite of plus 2 right here, drop down 3. This will give you minus 6. Together is minus 7 plus 14, and then 4, and minus 8 equals 0. See, now that this is you will get the quadratic quotient here. So the quadratic quotient is this 3x squared minus 7x and plus 4. So we started with the original polynomial, and what we get is we get x plus 3 is one factor. The second one was x plus 2, and now we got 3x squared minus 7x plus 4. So this is, so now we have to further split this. So how you do this is the quickest method that I showed you. is right two factors because there is a 3x square. So put a 3x here, put a 3x here, divide by 3. Then multiply the first and the last, which is 12 plus 12. And then the middle one is minus 7. So you are looking up of the factors of 12. So the 12 factors is 1 and 12, 2 and 6 and 3 and 4. Which among this will, because there's a plus 4, which among this will add up to the 7? And you can see this thing add up to 7. And because there is a minus, so the best is you use both minus, so that we get minus 7. So we get minus 4 and minus 3. And then we can cross out this 3 divides this 3, and you end up getting the linear factors is x plus 2. So 3x minus 4, and then this will be x minus 1, and you're done. And the last question is they gave us a degree 3, that means that is x is 3, and the leading coefficient is negative, that is minus, right? The regular graph is this one, but because it is minus, it starts from up and then goes down like this. Why is that coming? Okay, it means it starts up and then goes down. And they gave us the zeros is negative 5, so that's negative 5. That's negative 1, and then the 3. So if those are the zeros, that means the factors are x plus 5, and then x plus 1, and x plus 3. So you want to know what is the y-intercept also. So if I put a 0 here and you multiply all these 3, you get plus 15. So it has to go through plus 15. Maybe here is I'll put a 15, and the graph and the sketch will look like. So start from up, so goes through this, takes a turn, and then goes like this, see, and then takes a turn, and that's how the sketch will look. Yeah, done. So hope this completes lesson number 15. To understand what is the meaning of what is remainder theorem and what is the meaning of factor theorem.